This video is converting equations in vertex form to standard form. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Okay, so remember when we're going from vertex to standard form, what we can do is we can FOIL what's inside these parentheses in being squared. And so x minus 2 squared is the same as x minus 2 times x minus 2. And then we still have to remember that we have this plus 3 tacked on to the end. So FOIL. So the first are the x's, so x times x is x squared. Outside would be this negative 2 and this x, so that would give me a negative 2x. And then inside would be this negative 2 and this x, so another negative 2x. And then the last would be negative 2 times negative 2, which would give me a positive 4. And then I still have that positive 3 to tack on to the end. And so here we've got to combine like terms, so x squared, and then negative 2x minus 2x would give me a negative 4x, and then a positive 4 and a positive 3 would give me 7x. Okay. So in this one, the same thing. We can FOIL what's inside those parentheses in being squared. So we would have x squared plus x plus 1 minus 3. So x squared plus 2x, and then 1 minus 3 would give us a negative 2. So sometimes we have got other stuff tacked on. So for example, this negative. What we're going to do is we're going to leave that negative for the end, and we're just going to focus on the x plus 3 squared first. And so if we FOIL this, x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. And then this negative is multiplied by everything inside. So everything changes signs. So this would be a negative x squared, negative 3x, minus 9. And then this minus 3 is not touched. And so combine like terms. So we would have negative x squared minus 6x, and then a negative 9 and a negative 3 give us a negative 12. So minus 12. And then sometimes you have a number outside and you would do the exact same thing. So this time it's a negative 2. But I can still FOIL what's being squared. So this would be x squared plus x plus 1 and then plus 3. In this case, I'm going to multiply a negative 2 by everything. So I would have a negative 2x squared, and then a negative 2x, a negative 2x, and a negative 2. And then just tack the plus 3, and then combine like terms. So negative 2x squared minus 4x, and then negative 2 plus 3 would give me a positive 1. And so that's it. For this video. Well, actually, let's go ahead and look at going the other way. Let's go from vertex form to standard form. Or vice versa, standard form to vertex form, I'm sorry. And so in this one, we've got to find the vertex. And so we'd have negative b divided by 2a. That's what we're going to use here. So negative b would be negative 16. Divided by 2 times a would give us a negative 8. And then remember, you take this and you're going to plug it back in. So this is our x. And then to find our y, we would do negative 8 squared plus 16 plus 71. So negative 8 squared. And so here I get a 7. and that would be my y. And so now to write this in vertex form, y equals, and then in parentheses we put the x value. So remember, if it's negative, it's going to become positive in here. And then we just tack the y onto the end. So here's my x value, and then here's my y value. Okay, so same thing here, negative b, so that would be a positive 2 divided by 2a. So my x is going to be 1 here. So when I plug this back into my quadratic, so we have 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 5. Oops, sorry. So this equals negative 6, which is my y. So in the parentheses, I put my x, and remember, if it's positive, it's minus 1. We square that, and then we tack the y onto the end. All right, let's do one with a coefficient. Let's do this one here. All right, so same thing, negative b divided by 2a. So negative 36 divided by 4 would give me a negative 9. That's my x. Plug this back in up here. So 2 times negative 9 squared plus 36 times negative 9 plus 170. So 2 and so I get an 8, and that is my y. And so here, I've got to remember my leading coefficient, so that's going to come first. Okay, so if there's a coefficient on x squared, you're going to keep that coefficient here. So we would have x plus 9 squared, and then tack the 8 on to the end. And so let's see if there's one more we can do that's got a coefficient on it. I don't see a good one to do. Well, we've got one here that we can turn around. So we want y on a side by itself and then everything else. So I'm going to leave the y here, and I'm going to move everything else. So I would have negative 6x squared minus 12x minus 13. And so same process, negative b, so that'd be a positive 12. It would be a negative 12, which makes it positive, divided by 2a. So a negative 12 divided by 2a. Oop. That's not right. Hang on. So 12 divided by negative 12 should give me a negative 1. That's our x. So we plug this back in up here. So negative 6 times negative 1 squared minus 12 times negative 1 minus 13. And I get a negative 7. So this one equals a negative 7. That would be my y. So remember, we have a coefficient here, and so we've got to tack that onto the front, a negative 6. This is a negative 1, so we would do x plus 1 squared, and then tack the y onto the end. So that's it for this video.